This is about how to get an ASTER into a gearbox first try. This is in Specna Arms M4, some Specna Arms Core, something like that. It's not really important, because every ASTER build is kind of the same. You need to realize a few things. And if you do, you will get it right the first try. If not, there could be possibly some little problems occur. You could have some little problems. Okay, so first of all, we can remove a lot of stuff. We will talk about the trigger later. This is a standard M4 trigger and we're gonna use it. We're gonna remove the mechanical safety. This thing could just get in touch with the wires or whatever, and we just remove it to keep trouble away. So this can go. What else can go? Of course, switch. We're gonna use the ASTER as a switch. This screw, we will need it. We lay it aside. Okay, we gently remove the whole switch assembly, the cutoff lever. And then you can see the selector plate, which is, this is crap by the way. The selector plate actually needs no sticker in this case. For most ASTER builds you need to put a sticker on the selector plate and you need to glue it. And this is crucial. Glue the fucking stickers. I will tell you about that like 1,000 more times. So, yeah, this thing is a little bit thicker than the usual selector plate. This fucking spring isn't needed anymore. Yeah, so blue seems to be a color the ASTER can work with. Probably. If not, we have a problem. No, it works. The Specna Arms Edge 02 versions have an ASTER from the factory on, and these do not have any stickers on the selector plates. So we have all the fancy content of the ASTER box. Patch, bullshit, and an installation kit. The installation kit contains like 2 stickers and 1 washer we need. So this is the ASTER. Magic. This thing has a cut-off function with these light sensors, and it needs to be screwed down to the gearbox shell through this hole. This is marked, and this is the light sensor for the trigger. And we got here like 3 sensors for the selector plate. This thing isn't very complicated, but complicated enough, obviously. Okay, what else do we need? The sector gear should be clean, not like this one. The light sensor tries to measure out this notch on the sector gear. So if this is not clean, it doesn't work very well. This is the light sensor, and we need to place this thing perfectly. If not, the ASTER will shoot burst and give us a warning about fuck you, I did not realize the cycles had to stop, and yeah, fuck you, you can shoot another 3-round burst now. We need the screw, and we need a washer from the installation kit. The installation kit contains 2 types of screws. It contains the gearbox stickers, we will stick it on later. It contains stickers for your sticker sticking, and the selector plate stickers we don't need in this case. Normally I go for the biggest ones. This is nice, we can resolder battery. So there are 2 bags of screws, and it's always screw, a washer and an isolation washer. In this case we're gonna need the isolation washer. I recommend you to use the screw you already have. This is most of the time the best screw for your gearbox, because it was already screwed in. In this case it has a wide head, so we can just not use the second washer. So the problem is, if you use one screw, it tends to wobble around. In this case I've not fixed it very well, but it tends to loosen a little bit, overshooting, and it wobbles around and stuff. And this is actually a problem, because if this thing goes off place just a little bit, you got this 3-round burst, and I beep to you very angrily, fucking problem. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna, yeah, see it? The screw is fixed and I can still move it around. That's a problem. Oh, and I can damage it. This is no problem. Well, yeah, I fucked this up. That's anyway no problem at all. Okay, so we need to place this perfectly. What I'm gonna do is I place it as close as possible to the bearing, and then it needs to be in the middle, as good as possible. You may have mentioned the sensors are kind of the same distance from the bearing. This is what we want. If we have a dongle, we can check now if the ASTER does find the sector gear. But I know I have a lot of experience and I fucking glued this in place now. This is really stupid if you don't definitely know what you're doing. So just check before if this shit is working and then glue it in place. I just figured out the 3 spots are perfectly fine to glue the ASTER, and I just don't only use glue, I use some filler to yeah, give it a place to hold on. Works quite fine. This stuff gets really hard, and it gets hard. This stuff gets really hard and holds the whole ASTER in place. Now, the trigger. I modified this one. Magic. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. Okay, maybe it will focus. Will it focus? It hates me. Okay, so the trigger here is modified. What you want is the trigger has to sit a little bit before. Doesn't work. Fuck you, camera. Well, the trigger... God damn it! Fucking come. Ha! It worked. Okay, so as you can see, I glued in place a little piece of plastic to make the notch up the trigger a little bit bigger. This is a standard trigger, the other one is modified. The standard trigger would get like 20 to 35 trigger positions with this ASTER, I guarantee it. I don't know what happened, but lately the ASTERs I built in are doing this shit. And if I put the ASTER a little bit more to the right, I got problems with the sector gear. Magic? Not really. Fucking thing. Okay, so yeah, I modified the trigger and I will get about 100 positions, I guess. So next off, we're gonna put the cables the right way. This is important, because if you don't do it the right way, your trigger will not move correctly. Your motor will chew up the gears, and yeah, this is pretty much what you do not want to have. Cause this is nothing, by the way. Sometimes you can just put the signal wire in here. This is for the Spectre Arms gearbox. This is not needed, because we have this channeling below the pinion from the motor. But sometimes it's easier to get the signal wire out of the way if you just move it close to the anti-reversal latch. Oh boy, this video is 12 minutes. And yeah, I already fucked up speaking. Here you just put the wires aside. You don't want the anti-reversal latch to be blocked by some wires. And always bend the wires a little bit over the point you really want them, because they will stay in place then. Yeah, so as you can see, the red wire going to the motor is actually up. Some people, I don't know why, tend to just lay the black wire up the red wire, and this doesn't make any sense. So as you can see, the sensor is covered from the movement of my trigger very fast. Sometimes you can just pull aside this little shrinking tube on the ASTER's cables to make the trigger more movable. What did we forget about? The sticker. It goes on here. But there is this little metal notch thing. In the background you hear destruction. So I just grinded this thing down. And now I'm gonna clean out the gearbox a little bit. I did this because the sticker will stick very, 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 very bad normally. And if you just grind it down to the ground and you add a little bit of super glue, the thing will stick and stay in place. Some people remove these little notches. I don't. If you close the gearbox and you realize, okay, the cables are so fucking big, I have no chance but to remove these, you can do it. I think most of the time this is not necessary. and you should try it without dremeling too much on your gearbox casing. So, this sticker here definitely needs to be glued. Glue all the stickers. If you glue your fingers together, this is fine. Just make sure all the stickers are definitely glued in place. So, this is how it has to look. The sticker is like 1 millimeter away from this hole. Looks like a little text bubble. And yeah, just let me check this. Remember, yeah, 1 millimeter distance from pinhole. So this is what we did, and this is totally fine. Next up, the selector plate. Metal one's fine, sticker one fine, and blue one also fine. And that's it. This ASTER will work first try, I guarantee it. Cause you can mess up the gearbox anytime, but the ASTER in this one will stay in place. The stickers will not move. The selector plate, well, anyway, works fine. Yeah, and this thing will just work perfectly. You need to bend the connectors for the motor. Do it after you put in the motor and screwed the motor cage in place and stuff. And be really careful how you put your cables, because if the motor is not in the right position, this thing will fucking screech however you shim it. Oh, by the way, I just removed all the shims. I'm gonna drop in a new set of gears here. But normally I would recommend you clear the gearbox, shim the gears, then drop in the ASTER, then check if the ASTER is working, just with the app and the USB link dongle thing. And after that, you glue the ASTER in place if you know it's working. And then you grease up your gears, and you do not grease the bottom of the sector gear, of course. You don't want any grease on this light sensors. And if you did that, you're fine. And everything will work perfectly if you place your motor perfectly. And the cables from the ASTER actually are a little bit strange. Somehow one is longer than the other one, and most of the time it's not too... yeah. Most of the time you think this is just fucking bad. And the cables are very hard, and it's hard to get them out of the way, and yeah, just don't lose your patience and do everything slow and steady and step by step. And this will bring you to the perfect ASTER build, first try, flawless one. As I finish this, before I'm telling you about it, before I give it a new audio, I can tell you this thing worked out perfectly fine. I got like a 100 or 99 trigger positions. I got perfect sector gear movement detection, and everything else worked fine. Selector plate movement, fine. Everything. Okay, that's it. Just have fun with your gun and stuff. Bye bye.